In this video, I just want to talk about reading strategies with you all briefly. For our New Mexico history class, of course, I'm sure you've noticed there is quite a bit of reading to do. History is a discipline that is focused on the written word, both for historical evidence as well as historical narratives that are created by academic and other historians. So we're going to be reading a lot. As we talked about in Unit 1, the study of history is not about memorizing dates and names. So as you read, don't worry about trying to remember all the names, all the dates, only to the extent that understanding those things helps you understand the main points of each chapter. So just a couple of suggestions for thinking about how to approach the reading for class. And I've also included in the links below a few other resources at other universities, university libraries, and such that talk about some strategies for skimming as you read. I do encourage you to skim for our class because, again, the most important thing is for you to take away the major themes and historical turning points as you complete the reading. So again, you're looking for kind of the big picture. What is the overall significance of this time frame that we're looking at in this chapter? As you may have noticed, most of the chapters in the digital textbook begin with a story, right? So there's a little vignette about Cabeza de Vaca in one chapter, for example. Later on, we'll see the story of a woman named Maud Wright, who was kidnapped by Pancho Villa when he was on his way up to attack Columbus, New Mexico. So there are stories at the beginning that are meant to capture something about the bigger theme and interpretation of that chapter. So as you read those opening vignettes, I would suggest reading those word for word and thinking about, what does this story tell me about New Mexico history? What is the significance of this story? Why would it be at the beginning of this chapter? Then as you go along after that, read the chapter headings, skim through by reading topic sentences of the main paragraph, or of the paragraphs, I should say, so that you can kind of just get the main idea of the overall trends that are going on. What were the main continuities? What were the major changes? I would encourage you to try to read each chapter in that way in no more than 10 minutes. So again, the skimming part, try to keep that to about 10 minutes. Take some notes about big ideas, major themes, interpretations. Those are the things that you'll want to post about on Twitter or that you'll want to annotate with Hypothesis in the margins. So again, take notes on those things and then go back and read a little bit more about the main themes, right? So if one of your major themes is the ongoing cycles of violence and accommodations in 17th century New Mexico between different Pueblo peoples and the Spanish colonizers, you've identified that as a theme as you've skimmed through. You might go back then and read a little bit more in detail about the Battle of Acoma, about different governors and the decrees that they put forth to help you better understand that particular theme. So this is giving you a way of identifying what's significant, looking at ways that history has been interpreted by me as one author, but then there are other authors that we're reading as well, so that you can then think about, what do I want to add to this story? So the assignments that we'll be doing on the timeline, on Twitter and Hypothesis first, then on the timeline, and then in journal entries, are a way for you to think through all of the things that I was just talking about, so that you can then add, this is what I see as significant and why. So here's, in doing that, you're making an interpretation, right? You're adding your value judgment on what is the most important thing here. Also, you should be thinking about what is missing, what voices have not been included here, and how could we try to capture those. The timeline assignment is a great place to try to capture some of the things that were maybe alluded to or that you think should have been included in the chapter as you read along and you see, well, there's a lot of talk about Pueblo people, but there weren't really a lot of their voices here. So see if you could maybe add that on the timeline, just as one example. So Hopefully that helps in thinking about how to approach the readings, the assignments, and the study of New Mexico history in our class. As always, don't hesitate to let me know if you have any questions, and I look forward to continuing our study together.